Question number 8, Denise Roche.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety and asks, should the minimum wage be enough to live on?
Honourable Simon Bridges.
On behalf of the Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety, the minimum wage is an hourly rate, not an amount of total family income. The majority of those on the minimum wage are young people under 25. Many are students working part-time who will often have access to other means of government and family support. However, the government recognises it's not easy for those, particularly with children on lower incomes. That's why the government provides targeted support for low-income families through things like Working for Families, the accommodation supplement and income-related rents. That support can, of course, amount to many hundreds of dollars a week.
Supplementary, sir.
Supplementary question, Denise Roche.
Thank you. Is it fair that minimum wages rose by just $20 a week and the student allowance by 90 cents in the same week that MPs are likely to hear that our pay has increased by about $200?
Speaker.
Honourable Simon Bridges.
On behalf of the Minister, be very clear. The minimum wage is now the highest relative to average incomes in the world. It's the 4th highest in real terms in the world. We have put it up every single year. Be very clear also that this government does not agree with the Remuneration Authority, but of course they are an independent body.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Denise Roche.
How can he justify a minimum wage increase which, after the rent has been paid, leaves workers much more worse off than they were a year ago?
Honourable Order. Honourable Simon Bridges.
On behalf of the Minister, that is simply nonsense. Let me repeat, we have increased it every single year we've been in office. It is now one of, in really any measurement, the highest minimum wages in the world, but we've also got to be careful we don't put people out of work, and that is the difficult balancing act that we as a government and a responsible one take on board.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Denise Roche.
Is it fair that $20 a week is only half as much as the average rent increase in the past year, leaving workers way out of pocket?
Honourable Simon Bridges.
On behalf of the Minister, I remind the member that in fact the minimum wage has gone up over $100 a week under this government.
Supplementary question, Denise Roche.
Will he peg real minimum wage increases in the future to the rate that productivity rises, or does he not think it is fair that workers get a share of the wealth that they are producing for their country?
Speaker.
Honourable Simon Bridges.
The Minister, in fact, the minimum wage at this time from 1 April has gone up by more than average wage increases on average in this country. As I say, it is now one of, on any measure the member likes to take, the highest in the world.
Point of order, sir.
Point of order, Denise Roche.
My question was asking about whether he would peg it to productivity increases. He didn't answer that question.
Order. I'm going to invite the member to ask that question again.
Will he peg real minimum wage increases in the future to the rate that productivity increases, or does he not think it is fair that workers get a share of the wealth they are producing for their country?
Honourable Simon Bridges, either of those two supplementary questions.
On behalf of the Minister, well, I'd note, as I say, at 3.5% it's probably gone up by more than the measure the member is using. There is a wide range of factors that go into determining the minimum wage, inflation and to some extent the productivity measure that the member talks of.
Question number 9, the Honourable Phil Goff.